There are people who believe that synchronicities are just cute coincidences. But what if I told you that you are the very channel through which these signals arrive? No, it's not a cheap spiritualist metaphor. It's the science of the soul, revealed by none other than Carl Jung. What you feel, think, and vibrate is literally shaping the signs that come your way. The universe is not happening to you. It is happening through you. And if you ignore this, you will continue to be stuck in the same cycles, thinking that life is random, when in fact it is trying to wake you up. Now imagine what could happen when you stop doubting and start interpreting each synchronicity as a code sent just for you. Change is rapid, transformative, and yes, sometimes uncomfortable. But so what? The discomfort of growing is better than the frustration of repeating. This video is not for those who want to continue thinking that everything is random. It's for those who are ready to understand why certain encounters, certain numbers, certain goosebumps, because when you understand this, nothing else in your life seems normal, and everything starts to make absurd sense. There are people who go through life waiting for a sign written in the sky, while others are the sky itself sending the sign. Being a living channel of synchronicities is precisely that. You become the universe's own messenger without even realizing it. This has nothing to do with supernatural gifts. It is pure vibrational frequency. When your energy begins to vibrate higher, you not only attract meaningful coincidences, you literally begin to shape the reality around you. And this phenomenon, according to Carl Jung, happens when the collective unconscious begins to talk to your soul, not your logic. A person who becomes a living channel begins to realize that random events have an invisible thread connecting everything. A sentence someone says in line at the grocery store tells you exactly what you thought 5 minutes before. A book that falls from the shelf opens to a page that describes his inner anguish with surgical precision. It's not madness, it's pure synchronicity. Carl Jung said that these manifestations reveal the secret harmony between what you feel and what the universe reflects. In other words, you become a walking mirror of universal consciousness. And do you know the most curious thing? This state is not the privilege of monks in the Himalayas. It can be activated by any ordinary person like you who is willing to stop living on autopilot. You have to ask yourself, what inside me started to change so that everything around me started to respond? That's when you start to feel like you're no longer just living on the outside. You're listening to the world from the inside out, and that changes everything. But to understand how this really works, you need to go to the root of it. And he was the one who already solved this mystery, Carl Jung. When Carl Jung first spoke about synchronicities, many people turned up their noses. He was proposing that there is a real, not causal, connection between what we feel internally and what happens in the external world. This is almost like saying that the universe hears our thoughts and responds with concrete events. Jung explained this as a connection between the psyche and matter, where the symbol is the link between the two worlds. And the most impressive thing is that he proved this in practice, with reports from patients who experienced the same signs he dreamed of days before. One of Jung's most famous examples involves a patient who resisted accessing her inner world. During one session, she described a dream about a golden beetle. At the same time, a soft knock on the window caught Jung's attention. He got up, opened the window, and a real golden scarab came in, exactly like the one in the dream. That's when she gave in to deep therapy. This type of event, Jung called synchronicity, when the universe delivers a physical signal to unlock something emotional or spiritual. It wasn't a coincidence, it was vibrational code. Jung understood that these signs were symbolic, but no less real for that. They do not follow the logic of cause and effect, but rather emerge as a dance between the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. As if there were a greater intelligence designing the perfect scenario to awaken those who are ready. It's not just pretty, it's functional. When you understand this, you begin to decode reality as if it were written in another language, but now you finally have the translation key. And this leads us to see these signs much more clearly. You start seeing 1111, 2222, or 0333 everywhere, and your first reaction is to think this must be a coincidence. But after the 5th time in 2 days, you feel like there's something behind it. These number patterns are like vibrational reminders, the universe nudging you and saying, hey, pay attention. And it doesn't stop there. A song plays exactly in the part of the lyrics that talks about what you are experiencing at that moment, as if someone had spied on your soul. Another very common sign is meeting people who seem to mirror what you are feeling. You think of someone and within minutes, that person calls you or says something you needed to hear without knowing that you needed it. This is more than a coincidence. It is the vibrational field synchronizing the frequencies. Carl Jung explained this as a symbolic reflection of the collective unconscious. You are not imagining the connections. You are finally seeing what has always been there. But only now is your perception clear enough to pick up the signals. Furthermore, there is the physical sign, that sensation that makes the back of your neck shiver for no reason, a weight in your chest without a medical cause, or even a deep peace that suddenly invades you. These are signs that your intuition is online, channeling information that does not come from logic, but from vibration. When this starts to happen frequently, write it down. Keep a synchronicity diary. You can even use your cell phone. Start mapping these events and you will realize there is a pattern forming. And this pattern is pointing the way. But to continue, you need to consciously activate your sensitivity. Perceiving synchronicities is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of tuning. And to enter this frequency, the first step is to silence the noise of the external world. You don't need to become a monk, but practicing 5 minutes of silence a day changes everything. Sit in a chair, close your eyes, and just breathe. It seems too simple, but that's when the universe starts to whisper, and only hears those who have stopped screaming inside. Another practice that activates this channel is intuitive writing. Take a pen and paper or notes app and write down everything that comes to mind without judging, without filtering. This releases unconscious blocks and opens space for intuition to act. Jung was a fan of this type of spontaneous expression because he believed that symbols from the unconscious need a free route to emerge. And when they emerge, they bring valuable messages, often disguised as random thoughts or symbolic dreams. And there's the vibrational mirror. You only attract what you are ready to face. Want to see more synchronicities? Start vibrating in a way that is coherent with what you want to see reflected. Gratitude, presence, and clear intention are simple but powerful keys. Put on music that uplifts your soul. Read books like The Power of Now or The Red Book by Jung. Feed your vibration with content that pulls you up. The right frequency turns anyone into a walking signal radar, but this only makes sense even when the signals finally start to align with concrete decisions. Many people's first instinct when they notice a sign is to doubt. Is it all in my head? And then loses the message for fear of looking silly. But anyone who has already understood how synchronicities work knows questioning too much kills the flow. The secret is to register before rationalizing. Did you see a numerical sequence? Write it down. Did you hear something symbolic in the conversation of strangers? Write. Because when you record, you anchor the message, and it doesn't get lost in the chaos of the day. Now comes the hard part, taking action. What's the point of the universe sending you a clear signal if you keep pretending you didn't see it? Receiving synchronicities is a vote of spiritual confidence, and this calls for responsibility. Sometimes the sign is pushing you to change cities, cut a toxic cycle, or start a project that you keep putting off. And yes, it will be scary. But as Jung said, until you become conscious, the unconscious will direct your life, and you will call it destiny. In other words, either you take the reins, or you repeat the pattern. And here comes a magical point. When you share the signals you receive, you activate synchronicities in others. Yes, the simple act of commenting on something that touched you could be the sign that someone else needed. So, make it a habit to write about your experiences. Post it in your notebook, on social networks, here in the comments. Because when you share, you inspire, and when you breathe in, you participate in the greatest symphony of the universe. And believe me, this orchestra still has a lot more to play. Now that you understand that synchronicities are not mere coincidences, and that Carl Jung already explained this with almost prophetic precision, the question that remains is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue treating the signs as if they were background noise? Or are you going to, once and for all, assume your role as a living channel of messages from the universe? Because honestly, ignoring the signs does not protect you from pain. It only prevents you from growing, and life takes a heavy toll on those who insist on walking with their eyes closed. What is the strongest signal you have ever received? What number, what dream, what sequence of events made you stop and think? There's something much bigger happening here. Write in the comments. In truth, sharing your experience is not only liberating, it's a spiritual act. It could be that your report is the sign someone else has been waiting for. And if you don't write, maybe this awakening will never reach her. Look at the size of your responsibility. So if this content aroused you, provoked you, or even sent shivers down your spine, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now, activate the bell, and stay here with us. Because this isn't just a video channel, it's a channel of synchronicities. And if you got here, it wasn't by chance. It was because you are ready for the next message.